Hi, I'm Jocelyn Delk Adams from Grandbaby Cakes, and today I've partnered with Daisy Sour Cream to bring you an incredible Labor Day recipe. These are my berry shortcakes made with sour cream biscuits. If you want to make something sensational for the end of summer, this is the recipe to make. To begin our shortcake recipe, we're going to start with our dry ingredients. And this could not be easier because everything is going right into a food processor. So I'm gonna add my all-purpose flour. You can just dump it right in. I've got some baking soda, give those biscuits a nice lift. And I've got some salt and some sugar because we want these to be kind of sweet. And just start a couple pulsing just to allow it to kind of come together and combine. Perfect. So next, we're gonna add in our butter. And this is really cold butter. It's super important whenever you're making biscuits to make sure that all of your ingredients are cold. That's how you end up with beautiful, flaky layers. And once again, you can just start to pulse this until you get some nice crumbs developing. And you just want to make sure that you pulse this until like the butter starts to get right into the flour and these crumbs start to be created. Now that our flour is nice and damp from the butter, we're going to add in our Daisy sour cream. This is the magic ingredient in these biscuits. You definitely need a liquid usually in biscuits, but this really makes these so much richer than your normal biscuit recipe. You also want to make sure that this is super cold as well. Like I said, everything needs to be very, very cold when you're making biscuits. And lastly, we're going to add in some vanilla extract. So once you have all of your wet ingredients in, we're going to do one final pulse to get everything combined. As soon as you start to see this ball of dough form, you can stop. It's perfect, no need to keep it going. All you need to do is take all of your biscuit dough and you're gonna put it right on your table. And you just wanna add some flour just so you can make sure that everything comes together beautifully. And then I'm just gonna dump out my biscuit dough. Now you've got your biscuit dough. It should be nice and cold to touch. You wanna add a little bit of flour right to the top and the bottom so you can get a nice ball of dough here. And you can just pat it with your hands until it's about maybe an inch thick. And then using our biscuit cutter, I like to add just a little bit of flour to the inside of it. We're gonna start to cut out our pieces of dough. So we're gonna add this right to our parchment lined baking pan. Growing up, my grandmother made biscuits every single day. She actually still does in her 90s. I love the idea of the kids getting in the kitchen to help with this, especially when you're doing something so spectacular for Labor Day. It's the end of the summer and it's right before the kids go back to school. And this is a fun way to kind of build some family time in just before that happens. So I've cut out all of our biscuits, and the next thing I like to do is I like to chill them because it's super important that your biscuits are cold. So I'm gonna place this in the refrigerator for about 20 to 25 minutes, and then we'll be ready to bake them off. So our biscuits are nice and chilled, and we're just gonna add a little bit of an egg wash right on the tops. And then lastly, I'm gonna sprinkle with a little raw sugar. You get that nice crisp bite right at the top. And then it also sweetens it a little bit more because this is dessert after all. So these are ready to bake. You're gonna bake these at about 400 degrees for 16 to 19 minutes, depending on your oven. And they're gonna have a nice little puff and a golden brown deliciousness right on top. So our biscuits are baking, and I'm gonna start on our macerated berries. So I've got 2 berries here that look super festive for the Labor Day holiday. Some strawberries, and I've got some fresh blueberries as well. So I'm gonna add some sugar right onto our berries. And then lastly, I'm gonna add some fresh orange juice. And I'm gonna squeeze it right into our fruit. So once I have all of my ingredients in here, I'm just gonna toss it all together. So now I've tossed all of our berries and they're ready to just sit here and let all of that flavor develop. So I'm gonna let this sit on the counter for a few minutes, go check on our biscuits, and then I'll come back and make the whipped cream. So our biscuits are right out of the oven and they are perfect. You see that beautiful golden brown color and those nice flaky layers. And that all, of course, comes from the cold ingredients, especially the Daisy sour cream that made all of the difference. So now we're gonna work on our final component, which is the whipped cream. I'm gonna add in some heavy cream, and I'm gonna actually add in something that you may not be used to adding in, which is some Daisy sour cream. I'm gonna put this right into our bowl. And what I love about adding this little bit of magic here is that it creates such an incredible flavor to the whipped cream, something that's a little unique. You get that nice tartness with the sweetness. So you're gonna just start to let this mix up, and I'm gonna crank this up. So once we start to get our cream to about soft heat, I'm gonna add in some confectioner sugar and some vanilla extract. And just continue to whip this until you get to about heavy peaks. So once you get to heavy peaks, you'll notice that it stays on your beaters. You don't want to over whip your cream. So this is perfect and ready to go. So now it's time to assemble our berry shortcakes. So here's our finished berry shortcake. This recipe is so easy to make for Labor Day. All of your friends and family are going to love it. And it's a great way to close out berry season. Get the best use of those berries before the summer is over. And of course, if you just want to make these biscuits any time of year, you can add anything to the center. You can add ice cream or even jam if you like it the old-fashioned way. Regardless, however you make this recipe, I know you're going to enjoy it.